Hi, everyone. And we've got a really special guest. I know I say that on every one of these, but we really have. We've got Lavina Mehta, MBE, and I'll ask her about the MBE in a second. Now, again, one of those people who've not just been elevating themselves, but far more importantly, elevating others in the community. In her case, starting out in business with a business degree, and then the city, and then mother of three, businesswoman, entrepreneur, award winner, and most important to our conversation today, because we're really want to push health and fitness, she's a health and fitness, well, I don't want to say guru, because A, it's an Indian word, but everybody uses it, but a specialist, a coach, a mentor, an advisor, and we'll look at her website in just a second. Lavina, you know, we hear about COVID and BAME and health and fitness and its importance. Tell me how you got into it and what you're doing at the moment.
Thank you, Alpesh. What an introduction. So I am very, very passionate. My mission really is to help people feel good, not just physically, but mentally as well. So I'm very passionate about the mental health side and the benefits you get from exercise. You've touched on the fact that I'm British Asian, born in the UK. We know, and I did a campaign just pre-COVID because I was alarmed at the statistics of how inactive, physically inactive the Asians are in this country compared to the white population, and hence so many chronic illnesses like diabetes, heart disease, and the general national obesity crisis. So I tried to raise some awareness. Then COVID came along. I have only been doing the health and wellness space for about 2.5 years. I went on my own physical wellness journey. I call it a feel-good journey now. But I had 3 children. I joined a gym. I was a typical gym goer, more social, until I started investing in my own coach and I got into strength training. So I basically felt that it transformed not just my body, but my mind. And I just self-educated myself on the level 2 and level 3 courses, not really even foreseeing a future in terms of a business, but just because it's something that I was so passionate about. And the world has completely changed now with COVID. So I was actually training people, women one-to-one. I was doing groups. And then when COVID came along, I decided to just share some of my learning, and I decided to do some live workouts. This is before
How's
Joe
that
Wicks.
been? Is it, you know, have you been able to move people like, you know, sort of the Joe Wicks phenomenon? Are you the Indian Joe Wicks?
Oh my gosh, I would be I'm blessed and honored even to be alongside the likes of Joe Wicks and Mr. Motivator when I got the MBE. Very surreal. I'm still absorbing all of this, but I do think it's revolutionized the fitness industry. And I think a lot of people have got more confident working out from home, and technology is our best friend at the moment. And even the workouts I'm doing for the elderly and the seniors. I mean, you know, I would never have imagined my parents logging on to Zoom, let alone Instagram, which is where I did all my lives twice a day. Through the first lockdown. So I think everything has really changed, and we need to embrace some of the positives that have come out of COVID as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. So I'm going to ask you about, because there's so many things to ask about, how a mother of 3 sets up her own business, because there's a whole group of people out there who want to know that, because obviously it's, you know, how do you match those two things? The importance for the elderly of doing exercise, particularly like you said in our community, which is being hit more and has more of the obesity problems, and how you're communicating and relating to them, and then putting all that to one side, how you got the MBE. But we'll finish with that one, because that's gonna be a high note. Tell me first, mother of 3, how did you set up a business? And it could have been any business, but thankfully it was fitness. How did you go about it? What was the thinking? How difficult has it been? Any top tips for people who are thinking of setting up their own business because of COVID and lockdown?
Yeah, I think my main message is follow your passion. Like I said, it wasn't something that I thought would turn into a business. Before I even finished my personal training exams, women found out that I was doing the course, even though I'd just done home study around my children. I gave up my corporate career after our 3rd child, And it was an amazing career. I was working as a global project manager. I did try and go part-time beforehand, but it was a global
That was
role.
at BP, wasn't it?
Yeah, my last role was at BP.
So yeah, we're not talking small fry. We're talking, major global company.
Yeah, I mean, I was in charge of some really big trading systems for BP, and I was traveling from the UK to the US, all the time. Luckily, I lived with a joint family that were very supportive with my older two children, and I fought to go part-time. I think, at the time when I was there, I was probably the first project manager to have any job share, and it was something I really had to fight for. So I think the world has changed, especially for women now. But I think I left my career and then I really invested in my children, which is what a lot of women do. We kind of give up our careers and maybe to care for our families. And I really wanted to invest in those first sort of 10, 11 years, get them into secondary schools. My parents have invested a lot. They came in the 60s.
Wait a minute. How old's your eldest?
So my eldest is at university. Well, he's finished university.
Come on.
Graduated.
I'll
be talking to you about, he wants to get into finance. So I think I'll be sharing his CV with you.
That's fine. But how on earth have you got a child at university? I was expecting you to say, oh, well, the eldest is about 4 years old.
Don't look too close. Yeah, it's tiredness from working around the clock, but I'm in my 40s, we'll put it that way. And
this is just proof of how important health and fitness is. I think you're the best brand ambassador for your own brand because you're proving you can look in your 20s if you keep fit.
Well, my husband is in his very late 40s. If you scroll down to my Instagram, quite a fair way down.
I've looked, and I'm going to invite others to look at your Instagram for this reason. There's a picture of both you and your husband before you took on the fitness, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying, especially as somebody who's a bit overweight and trying to lose it myself, that you were both a little bit on the tubby side. You don't mind me saying. Yeah. Then I saw the after picture, and you look like models, both of you, and I thought, blimey, again, I guess that's the best advertisement. On a serious note, the best advertisement is the before and after, and you've got a couple here who are busy with kids, and you're able to do it. Sorry, I cut you up there. Tell me.
No. I mean, I think this is important to share that. I mean, my mum is a cookery writer and teacher. I've grown up with a love of food. My husband, he just turned about 40, and he was the typical Asian male. He won't mind me saying, but I did say you're starting to look like a typical uncle now.
Oh yeah.
And we both, we went through our own sort of challenges at the time. We lost my father-in-law. I think sometimes when you lose someone so close to you, obviously it does send alarm bells. And I had my own little personal scare in my 20s. So there's been a health scare, there's been times, turning points. I think there has to be those triggers. And luckily, we both went on a wellness journey together. And that picture was when I first opened up Instagram. I was a very private person. I think it kind of broke the internet almost with the Asian community because the response was ridiculous. Yeah. And I think I'm not about a physical body transformation. I'm not that typical coach. I want people to make easy lifestyle changes so that they stay for the long run. We could easily go into fad diets and yo-yo dieting and all of that. I'm not about any diet.
So I think I'm going to, as you're speaking, I'm going to share your screen I'm going to share the website rather at the same time, because I want people to sort of see as you're speaking, and I want you to give me some of the top tips that you would have for, let's start with people in their 40s, like you said, starting to look like dad bod or mum bod. And then tell me about some of the older people, people my parents' age, your parents' age, and how you get them into it and how we start with them. Tell me that as I sort of share the screen with the audience.
Sure. So I think my whole concept, if you've heard about it, is exercise snacking. And that means not exercising with a chocolate in your hand, unfortunately, but it's about taking short bouts of exercise. And I've done a lot of research on how effective even 5 or 10 minutes are. And I know from, all the clients that I've worked with, from all the research I've done, that cost and motivation and time are the biggest barriers,
Yeah.
whatever age you are. And we're all leading such busy lives. I mean, you know, things have turned upside down for so many people through this pandemic. So I want to make it easy for people. And it's about finding something you enjoy, taking small steps. And eventually we do want to hit the government guidelines, which I can talk about. But you start off small. And once you hit those guidelines, I think what really got me so passionate about this, and this is when I luckily got on to platforms like television and radio, because I realized that the numbers are amazing. You can reduce your risk of so many chronic illnesses, from early death, you know, things like diabetes, osteoporosis, dementia, stroke, arthritis. You can reduce all of that by an incredible amount just by hitting these government guidelines. And I want to make it easy. I want to make it fun. So I do lots of little short workouts, you know, just 5 or 10 minutes.
There we go. I don't mean to embarrass you.
You found it.
But I have to say, I mean, you look, and this is what, you know, motivates me, well, as well as my wife arranging personal trainer sessions. What motivates me is the before and after pictures. You know, regular people such as yourself. You know, you're not Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever. And like I said, I hope your husband won't mind me saying, but that is a different. Are you sure that's the same man? Usually you didn't swap him somewhere in between.
Gosh. I've definitely got an upgrade. That's all I'll say.
Which is another benefit, because you don't need to swap husbands. You can just upgrade the current one. Exactly.
I wasn't going to say that, but you took the words out of my mouth there. I think one of the things that people don't realize is the power of strength training. And although it is little old me, and you may see pictures on my Instagram of me lifting quite heavy weights, I don't mean going heavy. I mean just starting with your body weight. But a lot of people end up, you know, doing the normal, like going for a run. I encourage you to do cardio, but I also think it's important to do strength training as well.
Yeah. Well, and I've been doing. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just introducing people. I think people probably don't realize, especially in our community, what strength training is. And now I've got like women and men in their 90s, you know, on my seniors and elderly workouts, which we'll talk about. And they're lifting, you know, just tins and little plastic bottles, anything that's safe at the moment they can do from home. But strength training is also a very big antidepressant. So not only is it going to help you build muscle and burn fat, there's incredible research, and I love the science behind exercise.
So tell me, you said you do little classes. Now, obviously they should go to your website, feelgoodwithlavina.com, and they can see it on screen over there. What's the best sort of, let's start with the 70-year-old kind of thing. What's sort of the, you know, with your, you said, you know, you've been doing it with your parents. What's the starting point for somebody who's 60s and 70s?
I mean, I have, which is very kind of you. You are promoting something I'm so passionate about. I think our vulnerable, our elderly, less mobile, it's a whole generation that aren't used to exercise. And I personally feel there needs to be more awareness in the Asian community. So I'm trying to, you know, get that awareness and raise people's knowledge and understanding of what they can do. So if you're a senior, feel free to join me every Friday. It's a free session at 10 o'clock. And I stream it across my YouTube channel. I have Zoom on. I had amazing individuals and couples this morning.
And they'll find all of that on your website, your YouTube channel, or I guess they can search you on YouTube.
Yes. So on my YouTube for the seniors, there's about 50 something workouts that we've saved, and they're all there. I have lovely elders message me saying that they're using them, some of them on a daily basis. It's giving them a little purpose, something to do during lockdown, which is the most satisfying and rewarding for me. I have the free sessions, and I also have like some shorter videos for them. If they just want to start training, there's some sort of 15-20-minute ones on YouTube as well for them. And
now, I don't mean to be too commercial, but I've noticed people can save money by going on your Instagram, which I'm sure you won't mind me saying. So they better go on your Instagram as well, because if they want to then move to the private sessions, And I have to say, as somebody who's been taking private classes with a personal trainer, it's made a world of difference, because I lack discipline the way everybody else does. So I highly recommend it, but they should go on your website for that as well.
Thank you. I mean, what you pulled up is actually a virtual community that I've set up, because I'm trying to help like mass now. I need to kind of really focus. You know, I've got a lot of things that I want to do. So I'm trying to get it's a female community at the moment, and it's about 80 workouts now that are on there since June. And I do 2 live sessions a week, and then they have a database of workouts from 30-minute sessions covering stretch, strength, mobility, cardio, and they can just join that on Facebook. So that was that lovely offer that you pulled up.
I think what's important about this is I think it's really important when it's somebody who specializes in dealing with a particular demographic. Obviously, you deal with all demographics, but you've got the elderly as well. Somebody from the same community, not because you can't learn from a Joe Wicks or whoever else, but I think it's a bit more relatable. I'm sure you break out in Gujarati. I read somewhere on your website you do with your folks. But in case they weren't getting the message, you can shout at them in Gujarati as well, I'm sure. But like I said, you know, you've got the broader mainstream audience as well. I think those things are what's particularly needed, because it means more people will sign up. Tell me, we talked about the fitness. How on earth do you manage all of this as a businesswoman as well with 3 kids? What's the setup? I mean, people might be thinking right now, listening to this, you know, I'm a mom and, you know, I've had a career shift from a high-powered job, city-based, to now being a mom. What top tips? If I said to you 3 top tips, lesser known top tips, what would you give?
I would say you do need to put the work in. I won't lie. I've probably been on the go for the last at least year. Once I got, you know, the platforms in terms of getting that big reach, I was just on a mission then to sort of spread awareness. So I have been working late nights, I won't lie. But I still try and get my 7 to 8 hours sleep somehow. It's sometimes broken. I keep a notebook on my bedside with ideas that come up. I think, you know, personally, when I feel really exhausted, like in the day, you know, there may be peaks and troughs, I'll always go out for a walk. I think that's one of my top tips, and it's free and it's accessible to everyone, regardless of how cold it is. Even at the moment, I guarantee, and I call them feel good walks, that if you just step away from your desk and take your Zoom meetings, you know, if you can, or take it as a walking meeting, just hitting that fresh air and maybe some nature, because I believe in forest bathing, and I think there's so many mental health benefits from being outdoors. But in terms of working, it definitely boosts my creativity, and I get all my ideas from the exercise snacks that I just started doing, you know, in March, very, very early on, to then enrolling my mother-in-law, who's never ever been on a camera, and she would never ever have dreamt of being, you know, on ITV and BBC with me in the end. But those sorts of ideas came to me when I was walking. So sometimes stepping away from our traditional environment. And I am lucky that I have older children. My youngest is now 13. He's just turned 13. So he is settled in his education. I think, you know, if you can, and I was in a very blessed position. I was, you know, my husband is providing all the security. He never asked me to go back to work. It's just something that I have found that I am so passionate about. But if you can, obviously invest in your children from a young age. Get them
I thought you were about to say,
settled.
if you can, find a husband like mine.
Of course, that as well. I mean, I am blessed. You know, we've both come from very similar backgrounds, where our parents came with nothing here into these countries, into the UK, you know, from India and from Kenya. They worked hard. We've seen that work ethic. We've seen what our parents did, you know, in terms of giving us an education. I would say they begged and borrowed, and there were really hard times. And I think that's where my generation, you know, it's going to be different to our children's generation, which where I really try and get the cultural roots. I try and expose them to charity work. And, you know, we're trying to do all those things so that they understand, like we did, the hardship that our parents went through. But we work hard, right? I mean, we're not as manual as our parents. I do have a cleaner. I don't have a live-in. Like, you know, I've never had a nanny. I've always wanted to bring my children up myself. So I think it's important as a mother, if you can. It's very hard. You will feel torn at times.
Yeah.
There's times now. You've just told me to go on to TikTok, which is another whole arena, and I get told off at.
It's another whole rabbit hole.
Well, I get told off at 9 o'clock every night. Mummy, turn your phone off, because my business is literally, unfortunately, on this phone. On, you know, health and fitness has such a big space on these social media platforms. It scares me to think that I have to enter another platform like TikTok now.
You could probably wait a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
The rate of growth is phenomenal on there as well. We sadly, we're going to be running against the clock. Tell me about the MBE. When did you find out, and when's the big day for the investiture?
Last one, we still don't know. I think when things are better in terms of the pandemic. I'm still practicing my curtsy lunges. It's the move that I do in all the workouts, so that everyone can practice with me. I feel totally blessed. It's still, you know, sinking in. There's times where I would never, ever imagine to be, you know, honored with this. I only found out a few weeks before. I still don't know how it all came about, but I know that on ITV they said that the Queen had found out about my workout and was very impressed. So one of my goals is to obviously train the royal family, maybe the Queen one day in one of my senior sessions. I think, you know what, dreams can come true. I mean, I'd never even dreamt to be in this position. Trying to hopefully inspire, especially women, especially Asians. If you've got something you're passionate about, go for it. Work hard, believe in yourself. And, you know, if I can do it, I hope it inspires others that they can definitely do it too.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's a brilliant note on which, sadly, we've got to end, but a brilliant note on which to end. Very inspiring from the side of a businesswoman with children. And I know people will say, well, how come you never say that about the men? I can tell you as a dad, I do about 5% of the work, not because I'm a useless husband and a useless dad. There's probably a bit of that in it, but the kids keep wanting to go to their mum. I can't change that DNA. I wish I could change it, because I'd love them. I'd love Brian to spend more time with me, but you know, it is, the burden does end up falling so often on mums more than it does on dads. It's just how it still happens. So inspiring that you've managed to do that, build the business, and a business with purpose and meaning, which has got this massive profile. All things which I know in this short interview we will have made it sound easy, but I know you'll also say to me it isn't. So people should be inspired and not thinking, wow, you make it sound so easy. It is inspiring. Lavina, thank you very much for that. We look forward to when not only do you do the curtsy, but hopefully the Queen joins you in a sort of a joint lunge or such. Well, maybe not so much a lunge at the Queen, but you know, a squat or something at the palace. Squat at the palace could be a whole show.
Amazing. Oh my goodness.
You know, there you go.
We'll be exercise snacking with the Queen.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And thanks for, well, all you do for the community, both our community and the broader, more importantly, the broader community as well. Thanks so much, Lavina.
Thank you. Well, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for helping me on my mission, which is purely, I mean, these sessions are open to everyone, any age. I just want people to know that movement is medicine. And I hope we get through, you know, this pandemic feeling like we can then meet in person, Alpesh. But thank you very much to you for all your support and raising awareness, you know, like through this platform, which is amazing. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Thank you.